Now consider a complex example. First, what you got to do is identify the major functional group. This is the major functional group, carboxylic group. Next, identify the longest chain. This is the longest chain. And when numbering, if there is a carboxylic acid, then carboxylic acid always gets the number 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next, identify the substituent groups. There is a chloro group, methyl groups, and a hydroxy group. Hydroxy is 6-hydroxy, and chloro is attached to the second carbon, so 2-chloro. Methyl is attached to the third one, fourth one, fifth one, and the seventh one. And we have double bonds at 3 locations. Next is naming. So first name the substituent groups according to the alphabetical order. So here C comes before M and H in the alphabet. So 2-chloro. Next H comes 6-hydroxy. And we have methyl group at 4 locations. So start from the lowest number, 3, 4, 5, 7. Since there are 4 methyl groups, it's tetramethyl. And now naming the main carbon chain. Main carbon chain consists of 8 carbon atoms. So oct. And double bonds are present at the 3rd carbon, 5th carbon, and the 7th carbon. So 3, 5, 7. Since it's present at 3 locations, it's tri, and it's a double bond. So ene, we don't write the next T because the major functional group is carboxylic acid. So we have to add the suffix as enoic acid. That's it. Now consider an example with amide group. So in this compound we have an amide group, we have a bromo group, and we have alcohol group. So according to the priority list, the amide is highest and hydroxy and the bromo group is below the amide. So major functional group is amide, and we have a triple bond too. Now select the longest carbon chain. This one is the longest carbon chain, and since amide is one of these 4 functional groups, so it's present as the main functional group in this compound, so it receives number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, identify the groups. This is 4-bromo since it's attached to 4th carbon, and this is 5-hydroxy, and this is 2-ine. So according to alphabetical order, B comes before H. So 4-bromo, 5-hydroxy, and there are 5 carbons in the main chain, and the triple bond is present at the second carbon, so 2-pentyne. And we don't write the E here because we have a major functional group, so amide. And we don't indicate the 1 here because it's one of the 4, which gets always number 1 when it's the major functional group, so we don't indicate the 1 here. Pentyne amide. So that's it. And this is a question from 2004 part 1 A-level paper. Another example but with ketone group. So here the groups present are ketone group and a hydroxy group and a double bond. And the major functional group is ketone because it's above alcohol. So ketone is the major functional group in this compound. Next, select the longest carbon chain. So you need to know that you should include the double bond also when selecting the carbon chain. So this is the longest carbon chain and number such that the major functional group and most of the functional group is the lowest number. So I'll start from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this way, double bond gets the lowest number and the ketone group also gets the lowest number, even the ethyl group. And next is, let's check out the substituent groups. 2-ethyl, this is 5-hydroxy. Now start naming according to the alphabetical order. So E comes before H, so 2-ethyl and then 5-hydroxy. Now name the main carbon chain. There are 5 carbon atoms in the main carbon chain, so pent, and the first carbon has a double bond, so pent 1, and it's a double bond, so ene, and I don't put the E here because we have a major functional group here as ketone. So ketone is present at the third carbon, so 3 one. Suffix is one. That's it. And I actually am indicating the number for ketone because it's not one of the 4 functional group which always gets the number 1 when it's present as the major functional group. So for such groups we need to indicate the number. Now let's consider naming an ester. Naming an ester is a little bit different. First what you got to do is you have to identify the alcohol part and the carboxylic part of the ester. Ester is formed when alcohol reacts with carboxylic acid. So in this molecule, this is the alcohol part here with the O, and the C double bond O. This is part of the carboxylic group and this is part of the alcohol group, OH. So ester forms by release of this as water. So what happens eventually is there is a bond between O and O of the alcohol and C of the carboxylic acid. So that's how we find out that this part is from alcohol and the rest is from carboxylic acid. So in this molecule, this is the alcohol part and this part is the carboxylic part from carboxylic acid. You have to name these two parts separately. First, when writing the name, you got to write the alcohol group. So since consider it as this alkyl group. So since there are 2 carbons, it's eth. This is alkyl group, ethyl. So when naming, first write the alcohol part, ethyl. Then leave a space in between. Then write the carboxylic part. When naming the carboxylic part, it's the same way. You have to select the main carbon chain, then number it. Always the carboxylic acid gets number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what you got to do is identify the other substituent groups. Here we have bromo, this is 3-bromo, and nitro group, 5-nitro, and here there is a double bond at the third carbon. Now start naming the next part. First, according to the alphabetical order, B comes before N. So 3-bromo, 5-nitro, and the main carbon chain has 5 carbon. So pent, and the double bond is at the third carbon. So 3 is a double bond, so ene, and this is an ester, so the suffix would be O8. Ene O8.